I'm 79 years old, and I was wrong about what love really is. I don't say that lightly, because for most of my life, I was convinced I understood it better than most people. I talked about love. I believed in it. I thought I practiced it. But now, at this age, with more time behind me than ahead, I can finally see something I couldn't see before. Not because I was careless, not because I didn't care, but because I misunderstood what love actually asks of you. Most days are slow now, quiet in a way that doesn't ask anything from me. I sit by the window in the morning and watch the light change on the same street I've lived on for years. Cars pass. People walk dogs. Life continues without needing my opinion. That's when thoughts come. Not the ones you invite, but the ones that arrive when there's nothing left to distract you. And lately, they all seem to circle the same realization. I thought love was something you proved by staying, by enduring, by being reliable. I thought love meant not leaving. That's what I was taught. I grew up in a time when love wasn't spoken about much. It was implied, understood. My parents didn't say, "I love you." They showed it by working, by sacrificing, by not complaining. So I learned early on that love was quiet, restrained, something you didn't need to talk about. And that belief stayed with me longer than I realized. When I fell in love for the first time, I carried it with me without questioning it. I didn't write letters. I didn't talk about feelings. I showed up. I stayed. I did what was expected, and I assumed that was enough. For a long time, it seemed like it was. We built a life together, a home, routines. From the outside, everything looked steady, solid. That's the word people used. Solid. I took pride in that. But solidity can be deceptive. It looks strong even when something inside is slowly wearing away. I didn't notice it at first. How could I? Nothing was broken. Nothing was loud. There were no fights that made you question everything. No doors slammed. Just small absences. Moments where I chose practicality over tenderness. Silence over vulnerability. At the time, those choices felt responsible, mature. When someone I loved was upset, I waited for it to pass. I thought giving space was respectful. When they wanted to talk about something uncomfortable, I changed the subject. Not because I didn't care, because I didn't know how to stay present without fixing or controlling the outcome. I thought love was about not making things worse. I didn't realize it was also about stepping closer when things are already hard. Back then, my choices felt reasonable, even kind. I wasn't cruel. I wasn't careless. I was composed. That was the word I liked best. Composed. I believe composure was a sign of maturity, of strength. What I didn't understand is that composure can feel like distance to the person standing in front of you. I remember being told more than once, "You're hard to read." I took that as a compliment. I thought it meant I was stable, unshakable. Now I hear it differently. Hard to read often means hard to reach. Love doesn't need mystery. It needs access. And access was something I rarely offered. I offered consistency instead, predictability, safety. And while those things matter, they're not the same as intimacy. Intimacy requires risk, and risk was something I avoided my entire life. I avoided saying the wrong thing, feeling too much, being seen when I wasn't sure how I would be received. So I stayed measured. And over time, the people who loved me learned to measure themselves around me too. They spoke carefully. They shared selectively. Not because I asked them to, because they adapted. That's the part that hurts now. People don't usually leave love suddenly. They adjust to it slowly. They make themselves smaller, quieter, until one day, there's nothing left to say. I didn't realize how often I confused peace with absence. No arguments didn't mean no problems. It meant no one felt safe enough to bring them up. I thought love was about not rocking the boat, keeping things smooth. I didn't understand that love also needs movement, honesty, friction. Without those, it becomes something polite. And polite love doesn't last. By the time I noticed something was wrong, the language between us had changed. Conversations were shorter, more functional. We talked about plans, schedules, responsibilities, not fears, not disappointments. And I told myself that was normal, that this is what long relationships become. I didn't question it. Questioning would have required admitting that I might not know what love actually was. That was a difficult thing to face. It's easier to believe you've mastered something than to accept you misunderstood it for decades. Now, at 79, I can finally admit this. I thought love was something you held steady, something you contained. I didn't know it was something you had to keep opening, again and again, even when it felt uncomfortable, even when it made you feel exposed. I thought love was about not leaving. I didn't realize it was about arriving, fully, every time, arriving even when you're tired, even when you don't have the words ready, even when you're afraid of what might come out. I spent most of my life believing that if I stayed, that was enough. That presence without openness still counted. It took losing closeness to understand how wrong that was. When distance finally became visible, it didn't announce itself. It showed up in small ways. Less eye contact, fewer shared thoughts. I remember moments when someone I loved would start a sentence, pause, and then stop. Say, never mind. I never pushed. I told myself I was respecting boundaries. Now I see it differently. I was teaching them not to try. Love doesn't die because of one big failure. It fades because of 1,000 small withdrawals. Each time I chose comfort over curiosity. Each time I chose calm over connection. I don't blame the people who drifted. I understand them now. They didn't leave because I was unkind. They left because they felt alone while standing right next to me. That's a particular kind of loneliness, one that hurts more than absence. If someone had asked me years ago whether I was loving, I would have said yes without hesitation. I was loyal, dependable. I never cheated, never abandoned anyone physically. But emotionally, I was often unavailable. Not intentionally, not maliciously. I simply didn't know that love asks for more than good intentions. It asks for participation. For years, I believed that talking about feelings made things heavier. Messier. Now I know silence was heavier. Silence leaves room for assumptions, for resentment, for stories people tell themselves when you don't speak. I see now how often people were waiting for me to meet them halfway, to ask one more question, to say one honest sentence. I rarely did, and time passed. Time always does. One of the hardest things about getting older is that clarity arrives when options are fewer. You finally understand the rules after most of the game has been played. There are things I can't fix now. Conversations that will never happen. Moments that won't be revisited. Not because anyone is angry, because life moved on. And that's something I had to accept. Regret at this age isn't dramatic. It's quiet. It sits with you while you drink your coffee, while you fold laundry, while you wait for sleep. It doesn't shout. It just stays. What brings me some peace is understanding, not just of what I did wrong, but of what love actually is. Love is not just consistency. It's responsiveness. It's noticing when someone's tone changes, when their enthusiasm dims. It's asking why, and staying when the answer isn't neat. Love is not avoiding discomfort. It's choosing it when it means staying connected. If you're listening to this and you're younger, I won't tell you what to do. I don't believe in instructions anymore, but I will tell you what I wish I had known. The people who love you don't need you to be perfect. They need you to be reachable. They need to know they can bring their whole self to you without being managed or minimized. Say the thing you're rehearsing in your head. Ask the question you're afraid of the answer to. Don't assume time will soften everything. Time hardens silence. I used to think love was something you protect by controlling it, keeping it stable. Now I know love survives through exposure, through honesty, through showing up emotionally, not just physically. At 79, I don't have many illusions left, but I have this clarity. Love isn't what you preserve by holding it tightly. It's what you keep alive by letting yourself be seen. I was wrong about love for a long time. An understanding that doesn't erase the past, but it does give meaning to what remains. If there's anything left to do, it's to speak plainly now, to love openly now, even if it's late, especially because it's late.